Hi everybody, and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. You may recall that 2 weeks ago I had to delay the New Guardians review. This is why. I found Snowflame. I admit I wasn't exactly sure what I was supposed to expect out of the guy, but
Snowflame is your tour guide on this expedition into your mind.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the New Guardians. No, not that one. The old team. About 140 episodes ago, we talked about the New Guardians, a group that spun out of the DC event comic Millennium. For those not familiar with the Green Lantern mythos, the Green Lantern space cops were put together by beings called the Guardians of the Universe, big-headed blue guys that were one of the first intelligent life forms in the universe. And despite them failing and making critically stupid mistakes over and over and over in their careers as Guardians of the Universe, they still pretend like they're wise and know better than everybody else. However, in one of the few instances where they actually kind of had a good idea, they left our universe, and one left behind decided to create new Guardians of the Universe by recruiting 10 people from Earth. Now, one might think that it's head-scratching that Guardians of the entire universe are only picking up people from Earth, but bear in mind that pretty much every single major occurrence in the DC universe is centered around our insignificant little blue-green planet that is mostly harmless, so it's probably not a bad call on their part. What was a bad call, however, was that they chose 10 specific people to be the New Guardians, who would also give birth to a race of immortals. And according to Wikipedia, since I have not read Millennium, of those 10 people, 1 was already dead, 2 died over the course of Millennium, 1 was a racist, and the rest were incapable of breeding with one another to give birth to the next step in human evolution for various reasons. That's the Guardians of the Universe for ya. They can create a super-powered ring powered by strength of will that can create anything that you can imagine, but they want to recruit dead people and racists into their new super-awesome club. Behind the scenes, Steve Englehart, one of the writers, hoped that the spin-off book, New Guardians, could explore tons of adult themes that he felt weren't touched on very often in comics, like drugs and sex and etc. Editors, however, changed their minds about the book, and apparently a lot of these aspects were cut down or changed significantly, leading to this horrifying mess of a book. And get this, apparently the book was originally going to be titled The Trumps. That's straight from Steve Englehart. And no, he does not explain why it was going to be called that, only that they decided not to because they feared that they'd annoy Donald Trump. You know, the series features a cocaine-powered supervillain, a floating head with green all over it, and a team whose goal is to get the female members pregnant, yet this is the strangest thing I've heard about this book. I did the second issue mainly because I didn't have a copy of the first issue. Well, that has since been rectified, so let's dig into the new...
Are you the passport man?
Yes, I am the passport man. Say, Snowflame, why don't you go make yourself a cup of coffee?
Coffee is cocaine in liquid form!
So let's dig into the New Guardians #1 and see if the first issue is as cracky as the second.
Snowflame has secretly replaced your coffee with Folgers crystals! Wait a second, this is decaf! No!
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could
been a long while since we got to enjoy a generic group shot. I give this one some credit though. They're not running at the reader or just standing there doing action poses. While they're still standing still, it's a close-up shot and they're at an angle. Most of them are looking out towards the sky, and the background gives the impression of a rising sun, as if signaling a new tomorrow. Or perhaps, since the Floronic Man is standing there and looking at them all while grinning, he's actually written something horribly obscene in the sky and is laughing his ass off as the others are speechless about it. We open to the new Guardians checking out their new headquarters. See, 1988 is a tough time in America. Hey, not just in America. In 1988 in Great Britain, an ancient Gallifreyan metal is returning to Earth and the Cybermen are trying to get their hands on it. Things are tough all over. The right wings had 8 years and Reagan's non-renewable, and the results are a country that says no to Latin American drugs, but can't quite get there on Latin American wars. Yeah, burn you, Reagan! Wait, was that even supposed to be a burn? I don't get it. Reagan was in office for 8 years, war on drugs, and Latin American wars going on at the time? Are they referring to scandals? That's insulting? Also, if that was supposed to be a burn, nice job alienating conservative comic fans. So they're at their new headquarters, which consists of a motel with 8 little pink huts. What a great headquarters, Gloss! In case you're wondering, no, she didn't say that sarcastically. She actually thinks this is awesome. Although I suppose considering their entire goal is to become pregnant, a cheap motel was probably the right call here. The Green Lanterns built a citadel on a hill, and look where it got them. A vast intergalactic police force with over 3,600 representatives from various planets, species, and life forms. Also, they built their citadel on a planet they themselves owned, and it was a beautiful, awesome place with vast buildings that stood for billions of years. This is 8 pink shacks in the middle of Los Angeles. They win. As long as we're going to live in a land of diversity, we might as well live. As opposed to dying?
It is far better to be alive than dead.
Yeah, far better.
Let's go through our cast real quick. Gloss, the big-haired lady from China, Ram, the green cyborg from Japan, the Floronic Man, or Floro as he's called, by the way, he was originally a supervillain, Extraño from Peru, Jet from the United Kingdom via Jamaica, and Harbinger from Crisis on Infinite Earths. If you'll recall, Crisis on Infinite Earths was one of the first big, massive crossover events that eventually resulted in all parallel dimensions in the DC universe getting compacted into one. Harbinger's presence is kind of a big deal, since she was one of the few people who still remembered all the original parallel universes. And then she got shoved into this book. Why? Not a clue. And like any team that's made up of international stereotypes, it's time to reinforce those stereotypes. I have seen this site in 7 movies, Los Angeles in the 1920s sorts of things. Or they can speak complete gibberish, that works too. Of course you've seen it, Takeo. In a land where fantasy is king, why should we not be part of it? Oh yeah, I recall that great Japanese fantasy movie, Sword of the 8 Pink Hovels. They decide to purchase the area for $15 million. Seriously, $15 million for this garbage hole? And they get ready to move in. We'll finally be together as a group, the Chosen! No, Lila, we can't walk around like gifts from the gods, even though we are. I think what I love most about this team is how reserved and humble they are. Elitist claptrap aside, Extraño starts wondering about what they're actually here to do. Well, Celia, we're evolutionarily advanced by the Guardians of the Universe, with powers to protect us from danger. Yeah, evolution has dictated that our hair be on fire, our bodies replaced with circuitry, or that we should have really silly mustaches and oversized earrings. Or we should be plants. You know, I get what the writers wanted to do with this series, with different people and different looks, but please don't start throwing around words like evolution as if you know what the hell you're talking about. Basically, my darling ones, we are here to pass along our new DNA, or to put it on a more practical level, to have kitties. Or you are, I'm certainly not. Sue, what do you bring to the team then? I don't know what I'm here for, but you're here to breed, and let's not forget, Floro's a plant. There you have it, people. The characters in their own book break down why this entire premise is idiotic. The Floronic Man gives everyone a child molester grin and responds, "We may not see all the colors of the new dawn yet, Gregorio." Yeah, that's not creepy at all. Remind me again why the Supervillain is on the team? This is gonna be like Dr. Light all over again. Maybe, or maybe the aptly named Ram gets his choice of the ladies. They just made a sex joke about the name Ram. I really don't have to say anything, do I? This thing makes fun of itself without any assistance from me. Also, do we know if Ram is actually fully functional and all that? Is this really the selection they made for proliferating their superior DNA? A living vibrator, a gay guy, i.e. someone who does not sleep with women, and a plant? We're only 3 pages into a 40-page book, and already the entire premise has collapsed. There's more really stupid dialogue with such gems as telling Harbinger that despite her real name being Lila, they're now going to call her Lily. Is that common? I have never heard anyone use Lily as shorthand for Lila. That Gloss wants to bang RoboCop, and finally that we Japanese have the tradition of pillow girls. Pillow girls? Do you mean prostitutes? We Japanese have the tradition of prostitutes? Or do you mean those giant pillows with anime characters on them that some people have sex with? Harbinger wisely tells them they should change the subject. She and Jet decide to compare powers, and they discover that they pretty much have the exact same powers, meaning it's redundant to have them both on the team, considering team books are supposed to have a variety of powers, and while of course characters can be different from one another, it's just kind of silly to do it in this book. Frankly, it feels more like Harbinger got shoved in there after the fact, since she doesn't really fit with this team at all. For one thing, she's one of only 2 of them who doesn't have green in their outfit. But why would the Guardians make a copy of me? And why would they want you with us after they created me? Oh yeah, good job, editor, for putting the dialogue balloons on the wrong people. We cut to South Africa, where we meet up with that racist chosen guy, who's an overweight balding man. You know, I'm just gonna throw this out there. The Guardians of the Universe were just screwing around with people, and the new Guardians are not special at all. Anyway, this guy, Crow-F, is in charge of a laboratory that's making weapons to destroy the new Guardians. And their first one is a doozy, a creature called the Hemogoblin. And just to remind us that these are the bad guys, they shove a man inside and he gets promptly and messily killed as the thing feasts on his blood and flesh. Crow-F goes inside to congratulate the Hemogoblin, who has blood all over his face. Hey, this is a civilized group of white supremacists, damn it! We use napkins around here! Crow-F, charming guy that he is, talks to the Hemogoblin about their sacred duty as white people to build a perfect society. But the world that doesn't share it doesn't understand it. They're too blinded by leftist brotherhood to realize that once the white race is swept into the multitude, the quality of life for everyone goes down the drain. Leftist brotherhood! Bah! We believe in right-wing sisterhood! Give me some skin, girlfriend! We cut to Shangri-La, where we meet one of the potential new Guardians, who recaps for us that he was chosen to become one of them, but decided not to because of his wife and family. Next scene! We cut back to Los Angeles, where Hemogoblin and one of Crow-F's flunkies get a room at the airport Hilton. However, it turns out that room isn't their real room, and instead go to the room right next to it, where there's a pet carrier on the bed. Wait a second. Slifer Kitty Carry?
Slifer! The Sky Dragon!
Of course, it all makes sense! An ancient Egyptian god monster working with a supervillain! It all comes back to the sheer evil of ancient Egypt! guy recovers a hidden document that has surveillance on the new Guardians while Hemogoblin eats the cat. The man's an animal! Damn it, Hemogoblin, what am I going to have for dinner now? And now back to the new Guardians, where Harbinger has her own high-rise apartment, apparently having the good sense not to live in the Pink Motel. Jet's gained the same powers that I've been reduced to, and we don't know why. We haven't chosen a name, so to speak. Is this really the group I'm going to join? Is this what living on Earth is always like? Vague nonsense, redundancy, and indecisiveness? Yeah, I guess that is life. The rest of them are still learning their powers. Not me. The rest of them came up together. Not me. They know far more than I do about sex. Considering your team's mission statement is only about procreation, you really don't need to know all that much. Insert A into B, repeat as needed. Hell, considering this is only about procreation, you don't actually even need the emotional baggage of sex. Artificial insemination would solve this whole damn issue! Extraño arrives to be Harbinger's really stereotypical gay friend. Listen, honey, your old auntie's here to tell you sex can be highly overrated. Auntie? I was born in 1987, so I wouldn't know, but did people seriously talk to each other like that in 1988? Meanwhile, Jet and Gloss head to a dance club, and people immediately start staring at them. Can you feel it, Celia? Every eye in the place, all over us. Princess Di in duplicate. The implication there is that they're staring at them because they're celebrities, but I think it might have more to do with the fact that your costume's neckline extends so far down that they should be seeing your naughty bits. We can't save the world until it needs saving, but we need to pass on our DNA, or at least perfect the technique. You know, I keep reading about how this book was supposedly slashed to pieces by editors, yet this is a superhero book where two heroines are talking about how they need to get better at the technique of Bow Chicka Bow Wow. For some reason, I really can't imagine this subject was all that enlightened and intelligent before the rewrite. The Hemogoblin's assistant, a former boxer named Piet, approaches Gloss and asks her to dance. Jet decides to walk out, feeling pissy that Harbinger has the same powers as her. I thought I was unique. You know, I could probably think of at least 3 other superheroines who have the exact same abilities as you. Oh no, I'm not special! Grow up!
Snowflame is watching you read!
As Jet walks through the parking lot, the Hemogoblin makes his appearance. You look like a vampire, but unless you sprout wings, I could leave you far behind, you know. But not tonight. Tonight I'm gonna prove I can stand on my own. Yes, attempt to beat the unknown assailant with unknown abilities with only your fists instead of taking advantage of your ability to fly. Clearly you are a tactical genius, Jet.
You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
And she immediately proves how good she is by getting bitten in the side. Gloss hears her scream and runs outside. Gloss, wait, we haven't finished our dance. Dancing is clearly much more important than the screams of terror. Actually, if they wanted to be smart, they could just fight and dance, like a ninja-style dancer.
Snowflame loves the part where it goes.
Gloss, seeing the Hemogoblin, draws up strength from those mystical dragon lines of the Earth to attack it. Unfortunately, the Earth must be having an off day or something because the Hemogoblin counterattacks. Jet rejoins the fray, her blood mysteriously vanishing in all these shots, and the two manage to repel him. They decide to follow after him. I'd personally call a doctor for the biting, but maybe not. She seems to have completely healed up between panels. They chase him to the 4th floor of a building, but he gets out a window and eludes them. Well, to tell you the truth... What? But these women wonder why they couldn't just be Wonder Woman and not have their respective limitations. But by the time they get home, they're reflecting on how well they worked together. I'm the casual narrator, making lame puns and giving you character development off-panel. Jet's wound has returned with blood and everything.
Great continuity!
However, the more surprising bit is that Harbinger has developed the exact same wound on her side as well. The two tell them what happened, and they figure that Crow-F was behind the attack, but they can't be certain. Ram thinks they should go on the attack on Crow-F, but Gloss asserts herself as the leader of the group because, she shows more cleavage than everyone else. However, the Floronic Man has his own solution to this. In the realm of plant spirits I came from, there are elementals. Meat people can't see them, except sometimes, on the very edge of their vision. I'll call to the spot where my realm intersects South Africa. Have the gnomes there see what they can learn. Wait, the Floronic Man has gnomes that work for him? Do they steal underpants too? And coincidence of coincidences, Crow-F just so happens to be talking to two of his people about the attack and how he was responsible and everything. Floro then gets to work having the local salamanders search for the Hemogoblin. Because he can do that, I guess. Cutting back over to the guy who didn't join the New Guardians, he hears from a news report about the attack on Jet and he's upset about it. His wife does not help matters. You're a wonderful dreamer, but you're just not equipped to handle practical things. You need someone to take care of you. Wow, don't you feel great that you sacrificed the call of heroism to protect and spend your life with this patronizing jackass? Anyway, back to the heroes who are sneaking into the hotel by wearing sweatpants and hoodies. Except for Gloss, who felt that she needed to show off her toned thighs and just has on leg warmers and a hoodie. They locate where Hemogoblin is and get into position, with Harbinger and Jet outside the window to cut off their escape, while the rest sneak in through the hotel itself. Piet spots them coming up the hall and decides to wait and see what's going to happen, while Extraño and Ram storm into the room. Ram goes in first, since the crystals that make up his body protect him from Hemogoblin's bite. After a struggle, the Hemogoblin slashes at Extraño, and the rest beat the snot out of him. They hear hotel security coming along and decide to leave, returning to the motel. Jet decides that their name is the New Guardians, and they all agree. The old Guardians shepherded life for 5 billion years. Now they've passed the torch to us. Harbinger declares, maybe we'll live 5 billion years. Harbinger later died a pointless death in 2004 in an issue of Superman/Batman. Just another brilliant plot point from the man that brought us Ultimatum. There's a knock at the door and it's revealed to be Tom, the guy from earlier who chose his unsupportive wife over the superheroes. He's come to inform them that the Hemogoblin died in captivity. It was his accelerated metabolism. He was already sick. He had AIDS! Absolutely nothing, because at no point did his blood interact with their blood! Seriously, both this issue and issue 2 raised up this AIDS point, but now that I've actually read the story, it's complete bunk. Saliva doesn't carry AIDS, and unless he had really bad bleeding gums, he wasn't going to spread AIDS by biting Jet. Hell, it's especially not going to happen to Harbinger unless her magical matching wound also transfers AIDS across the vacuum of nothingness. Well, guess what? I decided to look up some info on future issues, and it turns out that Extraño is later confirmed to be HIV positive. If the implication is that he got it from the Hemogoblin, then I call serious bullcrap. You could make an argument about Jet getting it, but Extraño wasn't bitten. He was scratched. If AIDS isn't transferred by saliva, then you can sure as hell bet that it isn't transferred by fingernails. This comic sucks. The premise is silly and defensive enough in this eugenics experiment about some group of people with superior DNA, but the dialogue is extraordinarily stilted, with them casually bringing up topics like sex, not in any realistic manner, but just an uncomfortable awkwardness. The villain is stock with barely 3 lines, and the action isn't all that exciting. And also, where the hell was that giant floating head we saw in the second issue, who was also supposed to be a member? Oh, and the worst part? The villain wasn't nearly as insanely awesome as Snowflame!
Look, My god is outside!
No, Snowflame, that's snow, not cocaine!
Snowflame is stealing your shoes!
They grow up so fast. Like 2 or 3 years later, and I still can't do a Spanish accent for crap.